Home buying mistakes. There's a ton of home buying mistakes out there, especially by first-time home buyers, and these are the top 6 that you need to watch for and how you can overcome them. What's up guys, Lewi Gault here, welcome to the channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. As always, go ahead, like, comment and subscribe to help with my ego and help me keep on creating these videos so that we can get on with important topics like this one. So today we're going to be talking about buying a home, and especially buying a home for the first time. It can be an extremely exciting process and one that's a lot of fun and a real journey to set out on, but it can also be a tremendous burden and a huge stress factor, especially for couples who are buying a house together for the first time. It can be a real nightmare to get through. I work with a ton of first-time home buyers here in Denver, and it's a lot of fun. It's a great adventure to go on, but there are some real big mistakes that are made, and it's usually before I meet them, which means that they have these preconceived ideas of the experience and what's going to happen in the home buying process that I then have to kind of stamp out of them and help them to get over. So if you can get over these 6 things that we're going to talk about, you're going to have a way better experience with the purchase of a home. So let's dive in. All right, number 1, this is the most common one, is looking at homes before you're pre-approved by a lender. We could do a 20-minute video just about this one point, but let's try and sum things up. Looking at homes before you get pre-approved is just going out blind. It's an absolute nightmare, and here's why. 99%, probably 100% of people are looking at homes on Zillow before they talk to a realtor like myself. So on Zillow, they're just scrolling through homes, and you're just scrolling like you do on Facebook, on Instagram, Pinterest, all that stuff. You're just scrolling through these homes, and at some point, the price kind of gets blurred out, and now you're just looking at the physical home itself and not paying attention to the price. And if you're not paying attention to the price and you're just looking at the homes, then of course you're going to look for the more desirable ones that pop out to you. Now this is all fine and dandy and sending them to your friends and looking at them with your spouse and all that good stuff. But then when you meet me and we start looking at realistic expectations and you get pre-approved by a lender and you can't afford that house, then you're heartbroken from step 1. So before you go and fall in love with a house, you should really look at getting pre-approved. This will let you filter out all the homes in a search. You can do that on Zillow. I can do that for you in the MLS, which is way more up to date. And that way you're not falling in love with a dream house that's unattainable right now. A lot of people get hung up by that first step of getting pre-approved because I think there's a lot of stigmas that maybe come with realtors and lenders and all that kind of stuff. Getting pre-approved isn't a contract to buy a home. It doesn't mean you have to buy a home. It doesn't mean anything really. All it is a financial snapshot letting you know how much home you can afford. That's all it is. It's nothing else. They're not tying you into anything. You don't even have to use them for your lender. So getting pre-approved really isn't as a major thing as a lot of people think. And it's truly going to help you overcome that first obstacle. And who knows, maybe you can afford that $800,000 home in Cherry Creek. But you'll never know until you get pre-approved. Number 2, setting realistic expectations. So with all my buyers that I meet, I give them a buyer's guide, which I'm going to link right here. You can download it for yourself. In that buyer's guide is a ton of information, but one of the really cool things I add in is a checklist, a really get to know you kind of list that I have you fill in. This lets me know exactly what you want in a house, which is great because we can look through that list together and go through each item and talk about them, like square footage, bedrooms, bathrooms, garage, location, single family home, condo, all that stuff. We can go through every single thing on that list and set realistic expectations of all those things, because each individual one may not be a big issue, but trying to find all of them in one property is sometimes tough. So if you want to be downtown Denver but want a big yard, it's going to be a toss-up. It's going to be tough to find. If you want to be in Stapleton but don't want an HOA, again, hard to find. So really my job at this point is to set these expectations and have a real conversation about what you should be looking for as a priority and what is a kind of add-on bonus if we can get it. And it's not the buyer's fault, it really isn't. We're used to watching these shows on HGTV like Property Brothers and all the other shows that are out there. But the issue is, it sets unrealistic expectations, because you might be thinking, oh, let's get a fixer-upper and we can do A, B, and C because it only takes 25 minutes in Property Brothers. But realistically, that's going to take you 2-3 years to maybe do all the renovations that you want to do to a house. So My job is to help you with those expectations and realistically set out and guide you through those steps. So download the buyer's guide, check it out, go through it for yourself, and that should help you get through this step. Number 3, the Zestimate. The Zestimate. I hate the Zestimate. I hate it so much. The Zestimate, in case you don't know, is the thing on Zillow that tells you your house is worth between this and that. If you're selling your home, it sucks because it usually tells you a value that you may be like, oh, my house is worth this much, but it's not really. And if you're a buyer, you might be thinking, okay, we can lowball this property because Zestimate says it's 400, but they're selling it for 450. So here's the deal with that. The Zestimate is just an algorithm and an equation on the Zillow website that gathers a bunch of data and just kind of throws it into these properties and gives you like a price range of how much they think it's going to be. No one's going to that house. Have you ever seen anyone from Zillow, like in a Zillow van or whatever, like Amazon, pull up and go into a house and look through it and get a real Zestimate? No, that doesn't happen. It's just an equation that comes out. And the big problem with that is you see that number on Zillow and you get your heart set on it and you think, well, I could get it for this price. We can lowball them by 50,000 or whatever the crazy number is. And realistically, in Denver especially, that's not going to happen. To get a more comprehensive value on a property, what I do, and it's super easy, I look at everything in a quarter-mile radius that's sold in the last 90 days, everything that's under contract in that pocket, in that neighborhood, and everything that's on the market as well. And I take all that, plug it in a big old spreadsheet, do all the numbers, look at it, and each property, I look at the difference between each one. So what's been upgraded, what appliances are in there, what are the floors like, when was the roof replaced, a ton of stuff like that, that no algorithm or calculator or anything like that can ever come up with. So the Zestimate is always a nightmare. And here's an interesting fact for you. The CEO of Zillow sold his house for 40% less than the Zestimate. Yeah. All right, number 4. This one's interesting. I do this a lot with my clients, and you should really think about this. I like my clients to write down, or text or email, whatever, the reasons for buying a house. And here's what I'm trying to do here. So you might need a bigger house because your family's expanded. Maybe you've got a baby coming. Maybe you guys just got married and you're moving into a place that's bigger. Maybe you want to downsize, not upgrade your house. But there's always reasons for the purchase of a house. Maybe it's quality of life. You want to live closer to the mountains. You're moving to Denver because of your job and you want to be close to City Park. You want to be close to downtown. You want to be close to your family who already live here. So there's always reasons that start the interest of buying a home. It's always something emotional that you're thinking about, usually that spurs on the purchase of a home for you to live in. So I like to have my buyers write that down. And here's why. When you go out to houses, it becomes an emotional roller coaster, going through, seeing a bunch of homes. I like this one, I don't like that one. And you have these conversations all the time about the market. Where's the market going? How are we going to be in 5 years, 10 years? The truth is, the market is incredibly hard to predict where it's going to go. We've seen where it's come from. Denver keeps on rising, but that doesn't really mean anything. Yeah, we think it's going to keep on going, but I can't give you a personal guarantee on that. So buying because the market's going to grow is kind of a gamble buy. But if you're buying because of an emotional attachment that you want to move here for a reason, or you want to upgrade because you have more kids now, that doesn't change. You're always going to have those more kids. So you need a bigger home. I had buyers recently who were looking in Park Hill neighborhood of Denver. They wanted to be close to City Park for things like jazz in the park, to go around the park in the weekends, to take their kids. They had another baby coming, so they wanted a bigger house and they wanted to be in that part of town. Now, as we looked at different properties, more conversations came up on the site, which were more based on the stock market. How's the Denver housing market looking in the next few years? What's our return on investment going to be when we sell this place in 10 years? And all those questions are great, but they're really unpredictable. Really what you want to be buying for is a quality of life. If this home you're going to buy isn't going to upgrade your quality of life, like, what's the point in buying it? You're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on a home to gamble that the Denver housing market is going to keep on going up so you'll get your return on investment. It's just not a great reason to buy. So you have to go back to basics. Why did you start looking at homes in the first place? So when you write those things down, it really helps you take away the noise and focus on why you want to buy a home, and it will help direct you to the right home. If you try to time things and buy at the exact right time where the market's down here and you're going to try and sell when it hits this point here, 9 out of 10 times, it's not going to work out. So you should stick to your guns, stick to the emotional investment that you're putting into a home, and buy because of those reasons. Okay, number 5, setting a budget. Now, how does this differ from getting pre-approval? Well, pre-approval is great, tells you how much home you can afford, but what I really want you to do is to dig into your financials. So look at your monthly budget. What can you actually afford to pay out for a mortgage that you're comfortable with, that you can still live a life outside of your home? Because the worst thing you want to do is to buy a home and have a mortgage that you can't afford to do anything else, and your house poor, because that takes away the point of everything. So you want to set a budget of how much you want to pay a month for your mortgage, and that will take that kind of pre-approval number and squish it to the place that you're really comfortable with, and talk to your lender about this. Your lender should be able to tell you, if you say, I want to keep my mortgage payment at $2,000 or below, they'll tell you, okay, this is how much that you should buy at. Don't differ too much from that number. So now we've closed on a home, and you own this home, and you've got your mortgage payment, which is great, and you can afford it, but there are expenses that come with a home. And we're going to cover these in detail in another video. But just think about, you go out to the grocery store, you come back in at night, and your basement's flooded, or your water heater, or the first day of summer just came, you turned on the AC for the first time, and it went. These are things that realistically happen in a house all the time, especially in older houses if you're buying something to fix up. So you got to think about that budget and kind of put some of that money away if you can. Typically every year you spend about 1% of the purchase price on home repairs. So if you've got like a $500,000 home, you're probably going to spend about $5,000 a year doing fix up to the home. So think about that and budget accordingly. Start to put a little bit away if you can each month, just to cover emergency situations. I always recommend to have 3 to 6 months of an emergency fund in your savings that you don't touch unless the house goes kaput. All right, number 6, last one. I see this with first-time home buyers all the time, waiting too long to pull the trigger. So for me and for people on my team, this is a customer service gig. It's not a sales gig as such. I'm not trying to sell you a home. I'm not trying to push you into a home or get you to buy as soon as you can so I can get my commission check. It's a customer service gig, so I build a relationship with you and help to direct you into the place that you want to go. But sometimes you don't know the place you want to go, and it takes a long time to figure this out, which is why in the buyer's guide I get you to write out all those things so I can narrow the search down. But still, sometimes it takes longer, and a lot of first-time home buyers are very indecisive, which isn't their fault. Again, going back to the Zillow point, you're just bombarded with all these houses that come at you on Zillow, and there's so many to look at. So when you see one, you think, oh, this could be the one, but the little Zillow voice in your head is saying, oh, but there could be another one that's a little bit better. Then you hesitate on this one, and you know what happens in Denver? Boom, someone else bought it, because the market here is really quick moving. A lot of the times you do miss out on potential homes if you hesitate too much. And I get it, it's a lot of money to drop on a home. In Denver, the median home value is $500,000. That's $500,000 you're going to drop. So being hesitant to spend that amount of money is completely acceptable. Go back to the emotions. Why are you buying a home? To improve your quality of life. So you do want to buy a home. This one checks all the boxes apart from maybe one. Is it worth not pulling the trigger on it and waiting to see if a better one comes along? Sometimes it can. Sometimes it works out. But a lot of the times it doesn't. And you end up settling for another place because it checks some of the boxes that the first one you really liked hit. And a lot of the times you end up settling because you missed out on the first one. The other thing that happens is when you start to see more and more and more and more and more properties, they blend into one, and it happens with me sometimes. I have a showing limit with all my clients. We only see 6 properties in one setting, because after that, they all blend in together and you can't remember which one had the big yard, which one had the updated kitchen, and it's tough to navigate through. So the more homes you see, they all start to blend into one, and then you don't want to pull the trigger on any of them because you can't remember them. So that's a big one. Don't hesitate too long to pull the trigger on something that you found that you love. So there you have it. That is my 6 main mistakes that I see from first-time home buyers in Denver. There's probably like 60 more that I'm not talking about, but those are the main ones that I see for sure. So definitely go through those before you think about buying a home. Get pre-approved, set realistic expectations, ignore the Zestimate at all costs, write down your reasons for buying a home, set out a budget for you and your family, and once you're there and once you're ready to go, don't hesitate too long to pull the trigger because you might miss out. Alright, as always, thank you so much for watching. Drop any questions you have below in the comments and I will answer them all. I'll be back next week with more tips and tricks for buyers, sellers and investors. Until then, go ahead, subscribe, hit that button, do all this stuff, and I will see you next week. Take care, bye.